welcome you all back to Inspired Minds 360 podcast, A plus B more. Let's dive right into this thing right now.
Let's do it.
Joe Biden just announced $55 billion in reparations for Africa. Are the Dutch chipping in? What about the English? What about the African chiefs who sold slaves to the West? Nope. We're going to get this check. Are they going to get reparations in cash, gold, Bitcoin? No. Solar panels.
Today's announcement, join a portfolio of Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investment projects already underway in Africa, including mobilizing $8 billion in public and private finance to help South Africa replace coal-fired power plants with renewable energy sources and develop cutting-edge energy solutions like clean hydrogen.
Is this what Africa needs right now? And what about slavery reparations in America? Because those are coming.
So, what did y'all think about that clip? Because as y'all seen, the President Joe Biden has just announced that he will be giving reparations to Africa, $55 billion in solar panels, right? $55 billion for reparations to Africa. How do you all feel about that? And it has somewhat sparked a debate.
Somewhat.
Well, amongst African Americans saying, hey, what about us here at the end of the day? We deserve reparations, but you're giving it to Africa. Hold on a second. Wait a second. You're giving reparations to Africa, $55 billion. That could be here in the African American communities, right?
That's only a percentage of what they actually owe us.
Which I couldn't tell you the percentage, but I mean, you can speak on that.
It's way more than $55 billion.
So, again, this strikes some people as very odd. When he's calling it reparations. Now, had he called it something else versus if he said, we're donating $55 billion to Africa?
It would have been different. Okay, so here's how I look at it. The fact that you put reparations on it makes me feel like you were trying to piss me off on purpose. 2, if it was just like, he said, hey, donations, we would have just been like, as a collective, Americans would have been like, I just think it's funny how we don't have money for certain things in the country that we need, but somehow have $55 billion lying around to give to someone else.
Right.
That maybe would have been where that would have went.
Okay.
But since you slapped reparations on it, all of our antennae came up and we were just like, excuse me. And then the start of your speech was, years ago, African, slaves came in chains to our shores, my country, sin, and we're over here like, we never left. We never left.
You talk about him giving reparations to Africa, in solar panels, but that same money could be used in the African American communities that have been requesting reparations for so long.
Look. You could take that little $55 billion because that's not going to be enough to pay us. And you could have put it towards something else. Like, I happen to have an email saying, hey, your student loans might not actually be forgiven because Biden and, didn't get it passed through for whatever reason. Right. And it's going to resume later. And so you don't have to pay it now, but you have to pay it later. And then all of a sudden, $55 billion is going to Africa. And then as we read this article, you find out it's $55 billion in solar panels.
Right. Now, hold on. Stop right there. Let's put it out there. We are not knocking Africa or Africans at the end of the day. But we're coming from a place where in the African American community, they have been talking about receiving reparations for years, and here it is, out of the blue, out of the hat,
out of the blue,
they pull out $55 million to go toward Africa and the solar panels. Now, we touched on something, we kind of read something that talked about China. Now, how did China come into this whole $55 billion reparation thing with Africa? Because we all know that China right now is moving at a fast pace
recolonizing Africa. It's just based off of what I've seen.
Right.
Hey, we're going to give you these solar panels. Can we come over? And also, if we come over, can we also have permission to sit and watch China? That way we know that they're not taking more than what they should be taking because we'll have occupied that space that they would have been looking at.
Funny you say that. I watched something with, and I shared it with you, from PLO, Patrice Lumumba, who talks about Africa extensively. And one of the last things I watched, he basically said that Africa is going to be recolonized in the next 25 years if they're not careful about what they're doing.
They're going to be recolonized twice if they take this $55 billion in solar panels. What would y'all need solar panels for? What do you need solar panels for?
Well, you can't. I mean, that's not a fair question to ask because I think that solar panels, depending on the country's infrastructure and things like that, they may need it. It may come in handy for certain things.
Like?
Anyway,
this is a serious question. No, this is I can't get off of it just because of this. Africa, if you needed solar panels before, let's just say you didn't need them. If you didn't need them before, $55 billion in solar panels.
Right.
What would you need them for now? Did you request solar panels at some point? Like, did they look at your grocery list and they was like, solar panels, get them. Hey, we happen to have what you need. What do you need solar panels for? If you guys do not need if this meeting was like, we could possibly use some solar panels, but we don't actually really need them, and they were like, oh no, you need solar panels. Is this another one of those instances where America is telling you that you need something in your country that you really don't need?
Which is a tactic of the American government, as we've even seen that in the Caribbean, with them coming across a couple of years ago, bringing a Red Cross ship with all types of,
you need this medical help. We're not experimenting on you medically at all. We're not here to monitor you or your health or the health of your people or the blood work of your people or anything like that whatsoever. We're not selling this information over back to our people and also our allies and possibly some of our enemies if some of this information leaks out at all. But you need us there. And You know what they said? All right.
With America pledging this 55 billion solar panels, what would you advise Africa to do? If you had Africa's ear right now, what would be your advice? knowing that the Chinese are seeking their way into Africa, what would be your advice right now?
Don't allow these people to come stomping on your ground like this. I would advise you, if you do need these solar panels for whatever reason, go ahead and make sure that you're getting something out of it just as big as what they're, because someone is always coming after your land.
Right. We all know that.
You have the richest land with the most resources, and I don't know why you guys fall victim to other countries every damn time. Just say no. And if you do need them, say if those resources are beneficial, for whatever the upkeep or whatever for your country, just be like, look, you can send them if you want to, but I'm about to make sure this benefits me a hell of a lot more than it benefits you, because I have a lot more to lose.
Africa has the potential to make their own solar panels. They don't need solar panels from the U.S. They don't need to have that doing $55 billion. They don't need that.
Need anybody. They have the rich.
Africans are equipped, and I say this to Africa, you are equipped with everything that you need to make solar panels. There are people in Africa making cars right now, electric cars in Africa right now. But we look at Tesla, and say, well, Tesla's out here. Tesla's, the leading electric car company. There are people in Africa making that right now.
Look.
So I think Africa has the capability.
I don't think that they need any. Africa is the only place that I think has the ability to sell and not buy. But at large, if you cut everybody off, you would never die out. You can cut everybody off right now.
And that's what Patrice Lumumba was saying.
Never die out.
He's basically telling Africa, wake up, because if you don't wake up, you are going to be recolonized again. Within the next 20 something odd years, you will be colonized again. So wake up to what is going on on the continent.
Solar
and it's
panels.
sad because you will hear most people say that the problem in Africa are the corrupt leaders. So you have it where you may not need solar panels, $55 billion in solar panels, but best believe you'll have some corrupt leader who says, you know what?
We need this.
We absolutely need that. Thank you.
In fact,
55
can we
billion.
only
Go.
get can we get $5 billion in solar panels and the rest of it can be handed to
Right. Again, I think Africa has enough resources, enough talent, right? So go ahead and build their own manufacture their own solar panels.
All they have to do is learn business.
No, hold on. No, let's take this down. If you look at Ghana, for example, I think Suzuki just put a Suzuki plant in Ghana. If I stand correct. Hold on. What I like about that move? That move is a good move because it put different Ghanaians in a good spot working for Suzuki. So Suzuki didn't come and say, hey, you know what? We're coming to Ghana. We're bringing our people. No, we're hiring your locals. We're giving you jobs, XYZ. And I commend that because you're giving the people opportunity. But when you come now,
You open up more jobs.
of course, and that's a good thing. So, but when you come now, and you bring your business XYZ, but you are discriminating against the local people, that's when I have a problem with
Or
that.
you're not paying them what they should be paid.
Exactly.
Like, how much are they getting? So here's the thing. Whenever outside, because Suzuki that's Japan. That's Japan.
And they move a little bit different.
They move
compared
a little
to
bit,
China.
yeah, compared to,
We all know that.
yeah. Look, as far as the land of the rising sun, they move cautiously too anyway because they got a lot to protect as far as their land is. Look, they don't really need a whole lot of people either, but if they see a business move, they are going to move with caution and they're going to be very thorough about whatever it is that they're moving into.
Okay.
They've always done that. The Japanese, I gotta say,
Okay.
as far as business goes, they are very thorough. They look at everything carefully and properly and make sure that they, whatever.
Right.
And they look at both parties involved. So they're going to look at you. Hey, what do you need out of this? This is what we need out of this. What needs to be done?
Right.
And then you kind of move in that way. If they find that it's something that's not going to benefit them, they're pulling out. It's simple.
Okay.
We don't need to be there. Now, China?
That's
Oh, we going.
That's a different animal.
Oh, you don't want our business? That's cool. Slowly, y'all start to move out there.
Right.
And we're going to take over from the inside. So go on and figure it out. And suddenly you see an influx of different people in your country.
Which we have seen in the Caribbean and we are seeing in Africa. Again, the Chinese population is growing.
All they need is certain people in place who are looking out for their best interests. And they don't even necessarily have to be Chinese.
Right.
They could be Africans looking out for their best
Of
interests.
course, to
And
fatten their
just so
pockets.
happen, and so you gotta be careful with that. Like this $55 billion in reparations by way of solar panel. I think that you guys need to take a look at that and really put some eyes on your government and see what they're doing. Like what are we about to do with these solar panels, or what do they need to do? Because if you sign the wrong deal, not only are you going to get solar panels, you're going to get a whole new military base,
Right.
complimentary of America,
Right.
and some missing resources.
You're not only going to have that. Now you're going to have more stuff to come through those doors, that you may not want in your country. As
Y'all
we have
gonna
seen, African leaders being in the hot seat about why the gay rights is an issue in their country, and them having to defend, like, listen,
Y'all
don't bring that
inviting
talk to
some
us.
things.
We don't want that here. That's not a concern for us. But anyway, we're just saying, to Africa, wake up, because that deal that the U.S. is trying to bring to you guys, that $55 billion, sounds great. 55 billion in solar panels. But again, do you need solar panels? If you don't need
Does
it,
it sound great?
I mean, I'm sure it sounds great because
But it's in solar panels.
yeah, but listen, solar panels can be used for a good purpose. And if Africa can benefit off of solar panels. All I'm saying is, why don't you guys manufacture it yourselves?
Look, here we go. Y'all travel here all the time. Get to traveling to these other countries and learn how they make their stuff and bring it home and build it yourself. Manufacture it yourself and sell it. You don't need nobody coming in. You have everything. It doesn't make sense for you to grow cocoa, for somebody to come in and say, hey, we want this. And now all of a sudden you're buying cocoa from other countries when you grow it.
That's another thing that PLO Professor Lumumba said. I think it was Ghana was getting, I believe it was Ghana, they were getting threatened with the fact of not being able to buy, I think it was chocolate or some crazy stuff. And they produce cocoa, right? Which is crazy.
I'm not even mad now that I know it's solar panels. I'm not even really all that mad anymore. I'm just confused. It's don't y'all take that without looking at it. Look at it first, because I can't speak for your country.
Again, the mere fact that he used the word reparations will have people in the African American community, even if they know solar panels, the mere fact that he said reparations is
the fact that he said reparations and then followed it up with, years ago, African slaves came to our shores in chains.
Right.
And we're just giving it back to their descendants. And we're sitting here like, we're the descendants. Hello. We ain't left. Like, right here. Come on.
Again, representing the African American community, you have every right, to speak on this, because why?
You do too.
Well, us in the Caribbean as well. But it's been a harder push here in America with the African American community, talking about reparations and whatnot. You will rarely hear any Caribbean person from any Caribbean island talk about reparations, period. But I'm glad to see that someone in African diaspora, the African Americans, are constantly bringing this to the forefront. Like, hey, at the end of the day, you need to address this, America.
Yep.
Address the reparations deal.
Yeah.
Because we want this.
Look, no one gets a pass. Don't let them forget. I don't care how many people say, oh, you need to get over it. No, F you. We ain't letting them forget. We still ain't been paid for that. We ain't been apologized to. Ain't nothing. We don't want no half apology from Holland. We don't want no half apology from some other places. No, we definitely want one full, heartfelt apology and payment for our troubles. Because we built all of your countries. Okay?
Well, again, we want to say thank you for jumping on, this episode again. And we're just speaking out on the reparations deal going down to Africa, 55 billion solar panels. Our message to Africa, African leaders, wake up, and look at what's going on before you sign that deal, before you sign that dotted line. You
make sure you come out higher than they do.
Exactly.
Much higher. I mean, there is a hierarchy. If they're here, you should be up here. Okay? Don't you sign that paper and you're not coming out on top. That is stupid. And I will judge you. I'm not even gonna lie to you about it. I'm gonna be like, I cannot believe they just sat up there and let these people do this to them again. AGAIN once more. Meaning it's happened before. Don't let it happen again.
Y'all, check out PLO Patrice Lumumba. He's an advocate for Africa moving in a certain direction. I believe he's part of the African Union, if I stand correct. But he's just a big advocate for Africa waking up and moving forward so that Africa is not recolonized again and pretty much becomes self-sufficient without relying on the Western world. So with all that being said, thank you all for jumping on and watching this episode. You all know what to do. Subscribe, like, share. It is all free. We are about to be out.
Yep.
We will see you all for the next episode. Later.